Hey guys, thanks for tuning in this video. Like the title suggests, I am going to be doing a quick run through of the new programming language on our block called Gleam. It's got like a cute little pink star as the mascot. It looks like a fun language. Their overall just selling point is that it should be easy to learn. It should be super reliable since it's based on the Erlang ecosystem. It's flexible. You can run it on the Erlang virtual machine, but you can also run it in the browser with JavaScript, or I believe you can run it on Node.js as well. And also all the packages that are based on this ecosystem called Beam, I think, but pretty much Erlang or Elixir, those packages work as well as the Gleam packages. So that's kind of really cool. Also, it seems based off of what I've looked at, it has a lot of cool features that you won't really see in Go or TypeScript, at least that I know of. So it looks like a pretty powerful language, but overall it should be easy to learn. It should be reliable. So I'm gonna just show you a few things that I've learned. I've only been playing around with it for 2 days, but anyway, that's just curious overall, some things that you can do with it and what the syntax kind of looks like. I think this video will be kind of cool to watch. So thank you for watching, and if you like the video at the end, make sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. So here is documentation, or the website. It's sponsored by Flydell, so anybody can sponsor it. Flydell is like the biggest backer, so you'll see references to them a lot. But yeah, the site is pretty cool. They have this learn language tour, which is pretty cool. You can just follow along, and I think it's pretty intuitive and in-depth. I think I learned a lot just from going through that. So I would definitely check that out if you're interested. To use Gleam, you have to install Erlang on your machine because it uses the Erlang virtual machine. And then you also need to install Gleam. If you have a Mac, you can just use Brew and install both of them pretty fast. They also have some cheat sheets, which are pretty cool. As you can see, yeah, it works with Elixir, Erlang. A lot of the syntax will be borrowed from things like Rust and Elm. Some people have said it kind of reminds them of OCaml. I am not familiar with any three of those languages. I know them, but I haven't played around with them. But in the comments, if you think it reminds you of one of those languages, feel free to let me know which ones you think below. But anyway, let's just jump right into this and create a project. So this is just like a directory I have. We're gonna call this, actually, sorry, you don't wanna do that. Gleam has this cool tool where you could just do Gleam, new, name of the package you're creating. So, what you're gonna do is this has to be underscore, no like dashes, and it has to be only alphabetical. Is that how you say it? Pretty much just letters, and then it cannot have the Gleam word in it. So that creates that, and let's jump right into this. Okay, so now we're in VS Code, and you can see we're in the directory for the application we're making. Get the terminal open. Okay, cool. So now we have our directory ready. So first thing they do is they kind of create you this like template project. The readmes in there. This toml file is like a package JSON file in JavaScript ecosystem. If you plan on publishing this or sharing it, they create a test directory with a test in there, and then you have this GitHub directory, which is kind of cool. This is literally like if you use GitHub, this is for GitHub Actions. So they create you one by default to run your test. You only have one test in there, but it's kind of cool that this is already configured. So when you push this up to your GitHub repository, I believe this runs on any pushes. Yep, push or mass. I mean, you should only have one of these, but yep. You can run your Gleam tests off rip once you publish this to your GitHub account. So that's kind of cool. Then you have this source.app, and this is just kind of the base level thing that they have created for you. Now, what's cool is a lot of the syntax kind of seems like it's borrowed from different places, or at least looks familiar. Drop in the comments below if there's any languages that you think it kind of reminds you of. A lot of people say it stole things from Rust or OCaml and Elixir. So I don't know. I'm not familiar too much with those languages. If you think they're one of them, just drop it below. So as far as how to kind of get application started, the main entry point is this main method, which is kind of like Go in my opinion. And then your import statements kind of remind me of Python with just the import and then the package name. To install a package, we pretty much would just do Gleam add and then just the name of the package that you're gonna do. And I forgot the name of the file. Yeah, here it is, manifest. Manifest is pretty much your package.json, your lock file pretty much, that locks in the versions for all the packages that you're using for the dependencies. And you can actually manually update this if you want to, which is, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is, let's say you wanted to, Gleam pretty much has all your basic types. It has your strings, it has your integers, it has floats, and any of the arithmetic operators like the plus, the equal, whatever, those work just like an integer for a float, but you have to add a period after the operator so that it knows that you're doing operations on a float. For instance, if we do let a, actually, no, we don't even do all that. We could just do 1.0, and you could say if we want to add it, you could just do 2.0 equals, that's how you would do it. If you try to do it with just a regular plus sign, you'll get an error because it's not a float. I mean, it's not an integer. So that's one distinction, which is kind of weird, but makes sense. You'll use the let keyword and then just the name of what you're gonna do. We're gonna turn off Copilot because I always feel like I'm cheating. Okay, so yeah, let name. Yeah, so anyway, you have integers, strings, floats, you have list, and in Gleam, their lists are actually linked lists. So they're quick for just, I think, for adding things and looping things that are really small, but maybe they'll be kind of slower if the list gets kind of big. You have tuples in there. Also, lists are all the same type. Tuples allow you to add different types into them. Also, you have this results, which are good for if you don't know something's going to fail or pass. Pretty much instead of having exceptions, you'll just return this result and it will have two values. You'll have a successful value and you'll have an error value, and you can kind of change what those are going to be. So I'll kind of show you some of those things. So let's just say we wanted to print something. We could literally just do io.print line, and print will only take strings. So if I try to do a 5, it won't work. But if you do debug, this will allow you to pass whatever into it. So let's just do something like, let's say my name is David. So you'll do let first name. Also, they use snake case equals David, let last name equal Justice. And then if you want to combine these, let's say we want a full name, what you'll do is, instead in JavaScript, you would do something like first name plus last name. That's not, in this you'll do 2 arrows like that, and then last name. But we probably want a space in there, so we can do, I don't know what this, I guess a diamond is what you call it. And then we could just do IO print line, or we could say do something like that. And then to see, to run this, you'll just do Gleam run. And by default, it'll look for the main entry point. But you can, I've looked at the document, you could do another method and then decide to make your entry point something else by doing a -m and then giving it the name of the module, I believe, or the name of the function to call. But out the box, it'll just look for that. You can see it wrote hello David. So that's pretty cool. And then create a build folder right here. You can clean that out, any of your build artifacts, because I had some issues like that before by just running Gleam clean, and you see remove that. So yeah, let's do like kind of like a real example. Let's say you wanted to, let's say we want to import a package. So what we do is, let's say I want to use a package called envoy, which is pretty much like .env for them. We could do get envoy, added that, and we could say Gleam add pp print. Cool. So then what we could do is, if we want to import them, we could just do print import. Okay, so let's say we have environment variable set. I'm going to set let's say we don't set it. Let's say we just want to print out my name. So we had a variable called name. We could do let name equals, and then we could do case, kind of like a switch statement, case expression. So we could say case, and then we could say envoy dot get. We're going to say my names. So what this is doing is just trying to look for this environment variable, and then what we could do is say we could say so they do like this weird thing where we could do an arrow like that, and we could say if name okay value, I think I'm doing that right. Oh, I did all caps. There you go. And then okay, so I'm going to explain this a little bit. I just want to kind of, we can actually make this a block. We're going to say we don't care about the error, so we're going to say, sorry, I'm not talking as much, just trying to give kind of a demo for you guys. Know my name and then we could say try a horrible example because it's going to. Okay. So you saw a couple of things in here. So this syntax pretty much, you saw the formatter, it made this get in the format I want. It has a formatter built in like Go. Also, what we're having here is a case, so I could have pulled this out, but you can assign the value returned from the case expression, which is kind of cool in JavaScript. You will have in JavaScript, I don't think you can actually grab the value from the switch case. You have to do something in the cases, but in Gleam you can do that. So pretty much in Gleam you don't do a return statement. In Gleam, whatever a block's last line returns, that's what it returns. Meaning that this is a string, it evaluates to me, and this is the last line in this block. So that's what it returns. This right here is returning the value. But this is what I meant. So this object right here returns a result. I don't know if you guys can see that. And this is the success case. This is the error case. So you could return an error here. In this case, it returns nil. So error won't have anything in there. But what we're pretty much saying is, hey, if we find a variable, then we're going to set the name to that value. If not, then if there's an error, we're just going to set it to a default called me, and we're going to print out saying we didn't find a value. And then pprint is a package that I've looked into that Gleam has that pretty much allows you to kind of like add colors to the terminal when you print stuff out. So instead of using the built-in IO print line, we're going to use that method. And yeah, so now if we do Gleam run, you can see that it got whatever it needed. And you see we got good evening, guys. Thanks for watching this video created by me. And then also printed out no, my name, if I remember, ever found. So you can see right here a lot of things just with the syntax itself, how to import things, the main function coming in, this pub keyword. It's kind of like how in Go, if you don't capitalize the first letter of a function or a type or anything like that, then it's not exposed to other packages. In Gleam, you had to put the publish command or it won't be exposed outside of that package. Then you have, you can see the switch case right here and how they return values. This is kind of the syntax right here for handling the cases. It has to address all cases. So one thing I've seen is if, let's say these weren't addressing all of them, I've also seen where you would do something like that, which would address anything else that this doesn't cover. But this will throw an error if I were to comment this out. It will tell me that this case expression does not have a pattern for all possible values. So you had to cover all the cases for it. So yeah, there's a quick run through of using it. I can also show you some things that you could possibly do. You can also pattern match. So that's pretty much what this is doing on the side, is pattern matching. So we can try another example. Let's remove all this. You can also do like, let's say age equals 26, and we could say case age. You can do something like if it's 18, if age is less than 21, maybe I'm doing this wrong. I don't think I'm doing that right. We could just say if age is 21, then we could do 1. I'm curious why I can't do this. There you go. Okay, you could do something like that. And then again, you don't have to assign the value, but we could do something like message equal that. And then we can just do so I mean, that's some very, very basic stuff right there that you can do in language. So another thing I want to show you is this concept of list matching. So the same way how we match the string or integer value, we can match on list and to do something based off the values in there. And then we can also use, well, not also, we need to use recursion. In Gleam, there is no looping or no loops like the for loop in JavaScript. So you have to use recursion to do any of that type of functionality. So let's say we have this list and we just print out the values. All you have to do is use a case. And let's say my list, and then we can match on the list. So let's say if we have at least one element in there, and that's the rest. So it's gonna match just to make sure we have at least one or more items in here. So we don't even need this first item really, but let's say we want to print that out. So each time we want to print out the first element in there. So what we can do is we can say, hey, create a block right here, and we say io.print debug first. And then what we can do is if it's empty, then we can just return list. And this is not returning, so we just need to make sure that we also, we're going to use recursion. So what we're going to do is just return, well, first off, let's pull all this out. So let's do a function called print values list, and then we'll just call it L. And we'll say it's going to be a type list of integers. And then what we'll do is return back a list of integers. And then we're going to pull all of this out. This can't be, this is going to be called list. Or L, and then we will also return back print values, and we'll use the rest. Okay, and we will do to make this look better. We'll do okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do print values, my list. There you go. And this should work. It should print out everything. There we go. So as you can see, you can easily do it with just looping, with just recursion. I haven't tried any built-in methods on the list type, but this seems pretty simple enough to do, and you probably can make your own functions to reuse to do that. One thing you can also, you really need to use recursion. You can do pattern matching on list. Also, what you can do is you can, they use generics as well, allow generics. So all you really do is, let's say this is not a type here. You can say value, yeah, let's call it type. That's a keyword. My type. And then what we can do is it will generate the type, the return type, because these are both the same type based off what we pass in. So now what we can see is when we pass in it, when we hover over it, you can see that it's going to take in a list of integers and return a list of integers. And it should work the same. And then we can do list. We'll do number list. And we'll do letter list equals A, B, C, and then what we can do is print number list, and then we can also do print letter list, and you can see both work. So this one right here says that it takes in a list of integers and returns a list of integers. This one says it takes in a list of strings, and returns a list of strings. So now if we go that, looping is done, looping is done. So it's pretty cool. You have generics out of the box. You have list pattern matching. You have case expressions. So again, I could have assigned this. I could have did let result equal that, and it would have gave me a list of that. So as you can see, you can assign case expressions are pretty cool. Also, this method is only going to be accessible, and our function is only going to be accessible in this file. That's pretty cool. You have floats, so we could also, again, in the beginning, you can do 4.7 plus That's kind of the syntax for that. There's no return keyword. You just, whatever is last. So if this returns a value, which it does, then that is what the main function would return theoretically. This is the main function, but if you did that somewhere else, that's what it do. I also wanted to show you guys you can create types. So if you just do type, name your type, user ID, and you can just do that. And it's just a type alias, meaning you're not really creating a new type, you're just creating a new name that you can reference to that. So now you could just do let ID your type equal 1. Now you have, I don't know why that didn't work. Here's your int right here. Oh, got you. Okay. So we don't even have to do that. We can just do this. There we go. Now that works. You could do string. This is not gonna pass. Now that'll pass. So you can do types. You can do records where you do something like users. You can say admin. It has a name. It's gonna be a string. And we're gonna say role. It's also going to be a string. And just say regular, regular user. I guess it doesn't like that I'm doing an underscore. Okay, so I don't think it likes that. Let's just do regular for now. And this will have a name. String. And then you could do something like person equals users. And we could say regular name I don't know if I'm doing this right. Yep, there you go. And I could do person name. You cannot reference the role because it doesn't have, it's not shared by both of them. But this is a record, so you can do a type alias, you can do a record, which is pretty much kind of, I would say like a struct and go probably is the most similar thing. But yeah, that is kind of how you baseline make some methods. You can make generics, you can do types, you can do pattern matching. What's also cool is you can use pipes. So if you've ever used like Angular before, AngularJS, where pretty much the idea is you pass one value into something else that manipulates it and returns something else. For instance, if I have a name, let's say my name is David. By the way, you can do type annotation, so you could do this. But this is more for documentation. It's not going to override what this is. If I do this, it's not going to work. So anyway, so we could do let name equals David. And then let's say we want to pipe this. So we could do this vertical line and this arrow. And then we could pipe it into string, which is, we could do string dot lower, or I think it's upper case maybe. Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So this is also kind of cool. So when you pipe, it automatically passes the value on the left to this as the first argument. There's a way that you can choose if it goes into a different argument, but like even if this took two arguments uppercase, it would pass one into the first argument. So that's why I have to do that. And then now name should be capitalized. So if we do io.print line name import gleam.io, and this is not going to work because we didn't make it public. There's nothing there, so I don't know why I did that. You can see it capitalized my name. So pipes are cool. I think what's just cool is because I've always seen this in like templates, like I think Django for Python does it, where they have like a templating language, and I've seen it in Angular. It's kind of cool out the box. You can just do this in any of your methods. So I thought that was pretty cool. So there's a lot of different things compared to other languages that I'm used to. But generally speaking, I think this is a really cool language. This is a very base level, just look at what you can do in the language and some of the syntax. I probably will try to create a web server this week and just show you how that will look using one of their frameworks called, I think it's called Wisp, which is built on another framework called Mist. So there's a lot of learning I have to do. But I'm very intrigued by this language, and I probably will try to play around with it the next month. So if you're curious about more videos like this, drop it below. Sorry this took so long, but thank you for watching the video, and I will see you guys on the next one.